bringing you the latest news from Coronado Athletics. This is the Mustang Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back into the High School Fan Zone on this Tuesday night. We are in the Coronado segment. I'm going to run through some things real quick. I mentioned when we started that one game has been affected already this weekend. Lubbock Cooper's game is not. It's moved from Friday to Thursday night at Wichita Falls Memorial. I guess there's some bad weather coming in the Metroplex and Wichita Falls area, so they moved their game to Thursday at 6 p.m. That's on right here on 100.7 The Score. Let me get this open. We'll run through the schedule for this week. I know the man sitting to my left plays the Thursday night game. Coronado's against Amarillo High at Lowry Field, 7 p.m. That's on 96.9 The Bull. That's the second of three Thursday games involving area teams because Plainview goes up to Dick Bivens Stadium, takes on Paladuro at 7 p.m. I assume you haven't heard any time changes for you guys.
Not yet, nope.
7 p.m. for all these. That one will be on, that's not one of our stations, never mind, I'm going to skip on through that. Friday night, the game at Lowry Field will be Caprock at Lubbock High. That's at 7 p.m. Down the radio dial a little bit with Rob Bro on the call. And District 2-6A, Friendship goes to Odessa High. They will play at, I'm on the wrong sport there, better get down to football. That's 7:30 p.m. on Double T 97.3 FM. I mentioned Lubbock Cooper's game being switched. Estacato's going up to Borger. I'm going to have to check on that one as well to make sure. I know that's not Metroplex, but they get more weather up there than we do usually. That's 7 p.m. Friday down the radio dial with Nick Long. Let's see, Liberty's off, Monterey's off. Levelland's up in Perryton, almost to Oklahoma, almost to Kansas actually. Trinity Christian, that's the one I'm waiting to hear. They're supposed to go to Grapevine Faith, which is right there in that Metroplex area, which I would think would be affected. That's 7 p.m. Friday right now. And Covenant Christian comes to play Lubbock Christian. Covenant Christian's also it's Colleyville, so it's in that same area, so I've got to call out to see if that one's affected. The two six-man private school teams in the area are playing Christ the Kings at home against San Jacinto at 4 p.m. Kingdom Prep is at Midland Holy Cross at 7 p.m. That is the schedule as it stands right now. You can check back with HubCityPreps.com to see if anything changes on that. Like I said, the only one I know of right now is Lubbock Cooper. Lightning games are no fun in football.
No, not at all. Oh.
That's why all these are being changed. I sort of was teasing earlier. I told the Monterey girls they need to give Coach Sims some grief that you should just play through it. But that's one thing if it's raining. It's another if it's lightning and having to take a bunch of high school boys to a locker room and
sit there. When's
the last time you guys had a game delayed?
Oh, it's been a while, man. We've been fortunate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knock on this fake wood.
Yeah.
That we don't have to deal with it because it is. If you're playing well, it can take your momentum. If you're not playing well, sometimes you can come back or sometimes you can check out.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to have a plan for it.
Yeah.
It's something you have to plan for because if not, you're going to be unexpected and it's going to be a bad deal.
I never had really encountered it much until I got to Louisiana and was covering LSU, and because of the weather there, the hurricanes and how quickly they can pop up. I remember Les Miles saying once, well, this was our game plan if it got delayed. And I thought, that's weird. You have a game plan for that. But he was exactly right.
You have to, man. It can hurt you or it can help you.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You didn't get rain delayed last week. You went up and played Caprock. It looked like there were some good things. Didn't get the win. Lost 36-26, but it looked like you guys did some things to give yourself a spot. It sounds like maybe a young quarterback had a decent night for you.
Yeah, man. It's kind of the same old story. We did some good things, especially defensively, and, then offense got rolling, and then we shot ourselves in the foot again, and, just a turnover bug. I think we had 6 turnovers.
Oh, wow. That'll hurt you.
It'll hurt you, so.
I mentioned the young quarterback, and I know JJ's been your guy all along, and I'm sure he's right there in the mix. But David Baucom, he came in, and it looked like he did some things to get you guys going in some regards.
He did, man. He started. He got the offense rolling, and he played well. And then he ended up throwing a pick 6 there at the end, and kind of numbers were skewed a little bit, but he played well. He made some good decisions, and then he made some sophomore decisions. So
left-hander, right?
Yeah, lefty.
That's what I thought. And you got to get him on that Andrew Roy, Randy Rosetta getting married diet. He needs to put on.
He does
some weight.
Yeah.
Because he's pretty slightly built it right now.
He's still a sophomore, man. So he'll be good. He shows up every morning ready to go, and he'll be there all off season. He'll be there in the summer, so he'll be a dude to be reckoned with.
You mentioned the late pick six. I think you guys were right there within 10 points before that.
So right before, I guess. Right at the beginning of the fourth quarter, we're down by 2, and we're rolling. Have our Air Force offense that we call it, and it's some defensive guys out there, and we get Campbell Stanek the ball. We get a first down. We try to hurry up. We get Willie Crane the ball, and they strip it, and we turn it over right there, and we're going in to score. I think we're going to go up. They go down and score and kind of turn things around right there.
I think Kirk Kaiser, your radio guy, sent me some information. He did say you were driving in and lost the ball, and I think they had a chunk play right after that.
They did, man, and that kind of hurt us. The momentum, change of possession got us right there, and it just went downhill from that point.
But again, to me, just looking and talking to Kurt, there were some good things. There's some things that you can keep building on and keep chopping wood. I think I've asked you this every week. You got your guys back Monday. What was the frame of mind?
They were ready to go. They put that behind them, and we're talking about building your house, and they still have an opportunity in front of them. They want to make sure they don't take any shortcuts and make sure they're putting all the good materials in and going to get it done.
High school kids have short memories.
They do.
Sometimes I wish – I'm glad I'm not in high school, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I wish I could get that memory back. So coming up on our first break, we're going to talk more about the Mustangs. We're going to get Andrew to talk a little bit about his volleyball program as well when we come back after this break on 100.7 The Score.
Diving headfirst into Coronado athletics. You're listening to the Mustang Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score on the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in to the high school fan zone. I'm just sitting here to Andrew Roy. Got distracted here because they're flashing pictures of Tommy Tuberville and Cliff Kingsbury up on the TV in front of us. Couldn't figure out what those guys are. Cliff's doing all right. He's got a pretty good quarterback to work with up there in D.C. I hope his quarterback doesn't play Monday night against the Chiefs. That'd be all right with me. Let the Chiefs stay hot. But and there's Sonny Cumby, a guy we were talking about between breaks. Your time in Snyder, I guess you got to know Sonny and probably still has some family there. Snyder's there's a lot of history in Snyder.
Yeah, man. I got to meet him. I got to meet Grant Taft.
Wow. Just
listening to Grant Taft, that's one of the most, memorable things I remember about, our banquets. He used to come and, the Grant Taft Award was presented every year to the top senior with great academics and great character. And he came through a couple times in my 10 years and would be in person to present it himself. And just listening to him speak, oh, man, that voice is something special, man.
Old school coaches have some voice. Is he a Snyder guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they just named this year, I think they named the stadium after him, Grant Taft Stadium.
Right,
so.
Because I remember a photographer friend of mine went and took pictures of it. We were talking about who Sonny Cumby's high school coach was David Baugh, whose grandpa was a pretty famous player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sammy played for
Sweetwater.
Sweetwater, okay. I was going to tell you a story. I'll tell it to you on the air here. When Peyton Manning was becoming who he was, Sports Illustrated was doing a story. They wanted to pair a young gun with an old quarterback.
Yeah.
So they sent him to, I think Sammy lived in Rotan at that point. He pulled up with his entourage. I'm sure it was an entourage. It may not have been. I don't think about it. But he introduced himself, and apparently Sammy's a little hard of hearing. And they got to talking. They'd been talking for a while, had some iced tea on the porch, and Sammy said, well, I hate to run you off, but I'm waiting for this quarterback to get here. And Peyton Manning said, oh, Coach, that's me. And that was their introduction. And then there was great pictures of it, too. And Sammy Baugh, he lived into it. Was he 100?
He was old, yeah. He was older. Coach Baugh, David, I've been out on his land out there in Row 10, and he has a bunch of hunting dogs, and so we've been hunting out there. And he's a great human being, man. And we just talked football, and he told me some stories, man, relating to when he was a head coach, and man, I've learned a lot from him.
If you know Sonny, if you are fortunate enough to get to know Sonny, you're going to root for Sonny.
Yeah,
that's a good
absolutely.
person. And I have no connection to Louisiana Tech other than him, and Scott Parr was there with him. Yeah. Scott Parr is a good friend of the family, and I've been rooting for Louisiana Tech ever since, and I hope things go well. It's like I root for North Texas now with Eric Morris, the shallow water guy. So, well, let's talk about your guys. 0-8 going into this week, and your district doesn't give you many games to. There's no time to rest. Yeah. Because now you play Amarillo High, which I believe comes in second in the district. Mm-hmm. But have one loss this season? Maybe
two losses now. To Paladura, which is playing very well.
Very well.
Then to Abilene High, which they were up big on Abilene High.
21-0.
Yeah, at Abilene. So I think there was some kind of conflict of, officiating and stuff like that. But Abilene High ended up winning that game 24-21. And, man, everybody else, they've put it on them.
And tradition-wise, I mean, when you talk about being in a district with Abilene High and Amarillo High, now Lubbock High's got old tradition.
Yeah.
But those two have maintained it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about, we played Abilene High, and we talked about it last week. Their quarterback, all-time leading rusher or something, quarterback for Abilene High. And you talk about the quarterbacks that they've had. Well, Amarillo High, we're here again, and they've got the all-time leading passer in Amarillo High history, which that says a lot.
Yes, that tells you a lot.
And he's a great quarterback, and he's going to be a threat, and it's something we got to deal with.
How do you? We talked before the break about your guys coming back, and you said they were fired up and ready to go. When you don't have to talk too much because they're going to remember what happened against Amarillo High last year. It was not a fun night for you guys. What has kind of been the motivation for coaches to get them fired up?
Man, it's just we talk about them showing up every day and being winners at life, and sometimes you're going to struggle, and I think we've kind of figured out some things that can help those guys out. Last week we put one of our seniors at running back, J.J. Johnson.
Yes, he had a good night.
And he had a great night. He had 9 rushes, I believe, or 8 rushes for 69 yards and a touchdown, and he ran a kid over at the goal line. And, he just gave us everything, both sides of the ball, offense and defense. And so we kind of found a spark right there. And so that kind of motivated him and motivated some other seniors. And they're motivated. They want to get there and get that first win.
We'll talk more about what lies ahead after that. We're going to talk about Amarillo High, but then a break, and then we'll talk about how the season wraps up when we come back in the High School Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Your inside look into Coronado sports. This is the Mustang Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in. We have one more segment with Andrew Roy talking Coronado football. The Mustangs are at home Thursday night against Amarillo High. That's on 96.9 The Bull. Mustangs are still searching for that first win. They've made inroads several of these weeks. And as Andrew mentioned, I'm glad he mentioned that because explain why J.J. Johnson got that chance to run the ball, because I love that story you told last week at the coaches' luncheon.
Yeah, no, he's just done everything right. He's come a long way since he was a freshman, and every year he's dealt with something, and just the way he's handled himself this year, and he's passed all of his classes. He's doing well discipline-wise, and he asked me, and I said I'd give him a chance. He passed all his classes and was doing right, and it came down to it where we're on our 4th-string running back, and I'm like, you know what? He's got the potential. Let's put him back there. And man, we put him in this week, and he goes 8 for 69 or something like that, and with a 16-yard touchdown run, he runs a kid over at the goal line, and he was special to watch. And on both sides of the ball, he gave us everything he could, and so it's just one of those stories that when you're having a season like this, those are the things you look back at and you're proud of.
I was going to say everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to get to the playoffs. Everybody wants to do a lot of different things, but not everybody gets to do that. So you got to find little subplots within each season. And to me, that's a really cool subplot for the Coronado Mustangs this year.
Yeah, and without getting into all the details, just the way he's improved his life and how far he's come it's really special.
And I know last week was National Coaches Week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, but I'm going to go out here and I'm going to pat you on the back. I want to pat every coach because I'm not sure folks understand what you guys go through as their mentors and sometimes their surrogate fathers, and that stuff that you guys help them get through on a regular basis. Because I've got a high school kid, and fortunately she's got everything she needs in our house, and I'm not worried about her. But if I ever worried about her needing something, I would nudge her towards athletics for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think we have a great foundation of coaches who support our kids, and it's a special place to be. And people don't understand what all goes into it, but it's a special place, man.
Yeah, sometimes people get too hung up in what the scoreboard says and how many yards you're getting and who's getting to play and who's not getting to play. And I bite my tongue a lot. So, as a matter of fact, I'll say that I'm probably going to out myself here. I saw Mom the other day talking about how it's a quarterback in town here who's 3-year starter, and some fans were saying some not so nice things to him, and I wanted to let her know that if I hear him, I'll say something, because I've watched that kid for 3 years. So
absolutely.
Speaking of your volleyball program, I wanted to throw this out. We started a new thing this year. We're going to do the Fan Zone Girls Player of the Week, Fan Zone Boys Player of the Week. Fan Zone Girls Player of the Week is Haley Parrott Curtis for the Coronado Lady Mustangs. Led them to a couple of wins last year, which we're talking got them right there on the edge of, I think they need maybe one more win to clinch a playoff spot for the second year in a row. In 2 games, Haley had 30 digs and 25 kills. She was especially key against Caprock. That went to 5 sets, and she helped get your Lady Mustangs to the finish line. She had 16 digs and 14 kills that night. She's a young lady who's been playing for a while, and she's just always steady. Whenever Candy Stevens sends me stuff in, I know that Haley Parrott Curtis is going to be on there.
Yeah, they've been playing great as a team, and she's just one of those that are just one of the leaders of our team. And man, I think they need one more win to clinch it.
At home against Lubbock High tonight, senior night, which I'm going to guess you're headed right back over there, because I'm not sure people know. Coach Roy got a vested interest in the volleyball program.
Yeah, my daughter's playing right now, and so I'm gonna head back over there. Man, they're fun to watch, and I'm excited to see them in the playoffs. They're tied for 3rd right now, so we'll see which seed they get, and hopefully we can go make a run.
And we talked that first round. You got to get past that first round in volleyball playoffs, and then you got a chance to light a fuse a little bit.
That's it.
And you've got a pretty good coach to entrust your daughter with, and Candy Stevens.
Absolutely.
And Robert Flores and Campbell's sister, and that's a pretty good crew to.
Man, they're great to have on campus. I'll tell you what.
Yes, they are. I've enjoyed getting to know Candy. So that wraps us up for this Tuesday night in the high school fan zone. We will be back tomorrow night. And reminder, we did switch things up. It'll be Lubbock High, Friendship, and Lubbock Cooper on a Wednesday night. We'll be back then on 100.7 The Score.